Today is March 14, 2026. 6 United States airmen have been confirmed dead. Their KC-135 refueling aircraft crashed in western Iraq. U.S. Central Command announced the news on Thursday. The crash occurred during ongoing military operations. These operations are part of the larger conflict with Iran, now in its third week. The loss of these service members brings a somber reality to the forefront of a war fought largely from the air. Their deaths occurred on the same day the White House announced a major U.S. airstrike. American forces bombed military targets on Iran's Kharg Island, a critical hub for its oil exports. These two events, a tragic accident and a strategic military strike, highlight the complexity and human cost of the current situation. The conflict, codenamed Operation Epic Fury, began on February 28. A routine mission over the skies of Iraq has ended in tragedy. On Thursday, 6 American airmen were killed when their U.S. Air Force KC-135 Stratotanker went down in the vast expanse of the country's western desert. The loss of the crew and their aircraft marks a somber day for the United States military operating in the region. The incident took place in Anbar Province, a region where U.S. forces have had a significant presence for years. U.S. Central Command, or CENTCOM, which oversees military operations in the Middle East, promptly confirmed the crash and the resulting fatalities. In their initial statement, officials moved quickly to address the most immediate questions surrounding the event. In accordance with long-standing military protocol, the identities of the crew members are being withheld. This deeply respected procedure ensures that the families of the fallen are notified personally and privately by dedicated casualty notification officers. It is a solemn duty, designed to give next of kin the space to grieve without the intrusion of public speculation or media reports. Only after all families have been properly informed will the Department of Defense release the names of the service members who made the ultimate sacrifice. The aircraft involved, the KC-135 Stratotanker, is a military aerial refueling tanker. A derivative of the venerable Boeing 707 airliner, the KC-135 has served as a cornerstone of U.S. air power for over 6 decades. These aging but reliable workhorses are, in essence, flying gas stations. Their primary mission is to refuel other planes in midair, a complex and precise operation conducted thousands of feet above the ground. A specially trained crew member, known as the boom operator, lies in the tail of the tanker, guiding a long, rigid boom to connect with the receiving aircraft. This critical capability extends the range and endurance of vital air assets. Fighter jets on patrol, long-range bombers on strategic missions, and high-altitude surveillance aircraft gathering intelligence all depend on these tankers. They are the logistical backbone of any major air campaign. The invisible enablers that allow combat and support missions to continue for hours on end, far from their home base. Without aerial refueling, the reach and persistence of modern air forces would be severely limited. In a conflict zone, this capability is not just a force multiplier, it is a lifeline. It allows for constant air cover, rapid response to threats, and sustained intelligence gathering. The loss of a tanker and its crew is therefore a significant blow, not only in human terms, but also in operational capacity. Image: a U.S. Air Force KC-135 Stratotanker refueling another military jet in mid-air over a desert landscape. According to the initial report from CENTCOM, the crash was not caused by hostile action. Officials have been clear that they do not believe the aircraft was shot down by enemy fire, nor was it a case of friendly fire. This preliminary assessment suggests that investigators will be focusing on other potential causes, such as mechanical failure or human error. The exact cause of the crash, however, remains under investigation. A safety investigation board comprised of experts in aviation, maintenance, and operations will be convened. Such investigations are typically thorough, complex, and can take months, if not longer, to complete. The immediate priority is to secure the crash site to preserve evidence and prevent unauthorized access. This is followed by the painstaking process of recovering the wreckage. Every piece of the aircraft, from the largest sections of the fuselage to the smallest components, is a potential clue. Central to the investigation will be the aircraft's flight data recorders, commonly known as black boxes. These devices record hundreds of parameters, from airspeed and altitude to engine performance and control inputs. They also capture conversations in the cockpit. Analyzing this data will allow investigators to reconstruct the flight's final moments and identify any anomalies that may have led to the catastrophic failure. The findings of this investigation will be crucial, not only to provide answers for the families of the crew, but also to prevent similar tragedies in the future. Separate from the crash, the United States conducted a major bombing raid on Iran's Karg Island. In a post on the Truth Social platform, President Trump announced he had directed the operation. He said U.S. forces had obliterated military targets on the island. The statement was forceful and direct. It intended to send a clear signal of American military power and resolve. The strike targeted a location of immense economic importance to Iran. Karg Island is the heart of Iran's oil export industry. It is home to a massive oil terminal. That terminal handles roughly 90% of Iran's crude oil exports. Its loading capacity is around 7 million barrels per day. The facility is a critical node in the global energy supply chain, despite sanctions. The president said he had chosen not to wipe out the oil infrastructure. The strike targeted only military assets, radar installations, anti-aircraft batteries, naval facilities. The aim was to punish Iran militarily without delivering a knockout blow to its economy or spiking global oil prices. In another significant development, the Pentagon has ordered approximately 2,500 U.S. Marines to the Middle East. Elements of the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, transported by the amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli and supporting vessels. An MEU is a versatile, self-contained rapid response force, ground combat troops, aviation component, helicopters and jets, logistics element to sustain itself. This deployment adds a new, flexible capability to the U.S. presence in the region. The order to move these forces signals the Pentagon is preparing for a range of contingencies as the conflict with Iran continues. It is important to understand what this deployment does and does not mean. Marine Expeditionary Units are trained for a wide variety of missions: amphibious landings, bolstering security at embassies and consulates, non-combatant evacuation operations to rescue civilians. Their presence provides a regional commander a flexible tool, from humanitarian aid to full-scale combat. The 31st MEU and USS Tripoli are based in Japan and were operating in the Pacific. They are more than a week away from waters off Iran. The recent events are taking place within the context of a wider war, a new, overt phase of a long-running shadow conflict. This new chapter has been officially named Operation Epic Fury. The designation itself, chosen by military planners, signals an intent for a campaign of significant scale and intensity, designed to achieve decisive strategic objectives rather than limited tactical gains. It represents a formal shift from clandestine competition to direct, state-on-state military confrontation. The conflict began in the pre-dawn hours of February 28th. The commencement of hostilities followed a tense 72-hour period where last-ditch diplomatic efforts faltered, and intelligence agencies reported the movement of strategic military assets, indicating that preparations for a major offensive were complete. It was then that the United States and Israel launched a joint campaign of airstrikes against targets inside Iran. The initial waves involved a complex mix of assets: long-range stealth bombers, carrier-based fighter jets, and sea-launched cruise missiles, all synchronized to overwhelm Iranian air defenses through a multi-axis assault. This marked a dramatic escalation after a long period of simmering tensions. For years, the conflict was waged through proxy forces across the region, punctuated by covert actions, targeted assassinations, and persistent cyber warfare. This new open phase of combat brings those shadow wars into the light, fundamentally altering the strategic landscape of the Middle East. For 2 weeks now, the region has been embroiled in active combat operations. This extends beyond the skies over Iran, involving heightened naval patrols in critical maritime choke points like the Strait of Hormuz and the deployment of rapid response marine expeditionary units to bolster regional security and protect allied interests. the human cost is mounting. In Israel, authorities have issued thousands of air raid alerts since the war started, forcing civilians into a routine of seeking shelter at a moment's notice. These sirens signal the ongoing threat of retaliatory strikes from Iran or its allied groups, a constant reminder of the war's reach. Inside Iran, international aid organizations have issued urgent calls for the protection of non-combatants, as the air campaign disrupts daily life and strains emergency services in targeted areas. According to the Pentagon chief, the U.S. and Israeli militaries have collectively struck more than 15,000 targets inside Iran since the war began. That's an average of well over 1,000 a day, a tempo sustained by a massive logistical effort, including constant aerial refueling operations over Allied airspace. The targets have reportedly included military bases, command and control centers, missile production facilities, and drone factories. The stated goal is to degrade Iran's capacity to wage war and project power, focusing specifically on its conventional and asymmetric military infrastructure. However, such a high tempo carries immense risks, not just for civilians and infrastructure, but for the global economy. Brent crude has risen above $100 a barrel, a gain of more than 40% since late February. This surge is compounded by soaring maritime insurance premiums for vessels transiting the Persian Gulf, threatening to disrupt global supply chains and drive inflation even higher. The world is watching as the consequences of Operation Epic Fury ripple far beyond the immediate battlefield. In any rapidly developing international crisis, clarity is the first casualty. To understand the current situation, it is essential to separate what we know for certain from what remains speculative or unknown. This disciplined approach allows us to build a factual foundation, helping to cut through the noise and focus on the critical elements that will shape the days and weeks ahead. First, the undeniable human cost. We know that 6 U.S. airmen have tragically died. Their loss is a profound blow to their families, their squadron, and the United States Air Force. The process of notifying next of kin has been completed, and the military community has begun the solemn process of honoring their fallen comrades. These were not just statistics, but highly trained professionals executing a critical mission far from home. Their KC-135 Stratotanker, a vital air refueling platform, crashed in a remote area of western Iraq. These aircraft are the backbone of global air operations, acting as flying gas stations that extend the range and endurance of fighters, bombers, and surveillance aircraft. The loss of such an asset, and more importantly its crew, has immediate operational implications. We know that military officials state the crash was not the result of hostile action. This initial assessment, released quickly, was likely intended to de-escalate immediate tensions and prevent miscalculation. However, it is a preliminary finding, and a full safety investigation is now underway to determine the definitive cause. We know the United States has conducted a significant airstrike against military targets on Iran's Karg Island. This was a deliberate and targeted act of retaliation. Karg Island is not just any piece of land, it is a nerve center for Iran's oil exports and hosts a significant military presence, making it a highly sensitive and strategic location. The choice of this target was meant to send an unambiguous message. We also know, from the president's own words, that the island's oil infrastructure was intentionally spared. This detail is crucial. It signals a desire to punish Iran militarily without crippling its economy or triggering a catastrophic spike in global oil prices. It's an attempt at a calibrated response, forceful yet contained. Finally, we know that about 2,500 U.S. Marines, forming the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, are being repositioned to the Middle East. This is a significant movement of forces. An MEU is a self-contained, rapid response force capable of a wide range of operations, from amphibious assaults to humanitarian aid. Their journey will take more than a week, a critical period during which the diplomatic and military landscape could shift dramatically. Now, we turn to what is unknown, and the gaps in our knowledge are vast and consequential. The most immediate unknown is the precise cause of the KC-135 crash. Was it a catastrophic mechanical failure? A maintenance issue? A weather-related incident? The flight data and cockpit voice recorders will be essential, but a full investigation takes time. And until it is complete, any explanation remains a theory. We do not know the full extent of the damage from the U.S. strike on Karg Island. While the U.S. military will have its own battle damage assessment, Iran has not released credible information on the impact. We don't know which specific military assets were destroyed, how many casualties were incurred, or how degraded Iran's command and control capabilities are as a result. Consequently, we do not know how Iran will choose to respond to this attack on a strategically vital location. Will it retaliate militarily? And if so, where and how? Will it pursue a diplomatic path through the United Nations? Or will it engage in asymmetric warfare, perhaps through its proxies in the region or in the cyber domain? Tehran's next move is the most dangerous unknown. It is also unclear what the ultimate mission of the inbound 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit will be once it arrives in the region. Are they a deterrent force, meant to discourage further escalation? Are they a pre-positioned asset for a potential evacuation of American citizens? Or are they an offensive tool, prepared for a follow-on military operation? Their orders can change while they are in transit, reflecting the fluidity of the crisis. This brings us to what comes next, and the focal point of global concern: the situation in and around the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway is the planet's most critical energy choke point. Any action by Iran against commercial shipping, whether through naval mines, fast attack craft, or missile threats, would instantly globalize the crisis. It could trigger a severe U.S. response aimed at protecting freedom of navigation, potentially leading to a much wider and more destructive war that the world can ill afford. The next few days will be a test of nerve, diplomacy, and military restraint.